I'm 36, male, a project manager for a mid-sized tech firm. I work long hours, but I've always prioritized my wife and our future. We've been married for 5 years, and though our relationship wasn't without its struggles, I thought we had a good thing going. Turns out I was a fool. It started with a small argument over our budget. I'm usually meticulous about tracking our expenses, but lately there were discrepancies. Several large withdrawals had been made from our joint savings account, amounts I hadn't approved or even noticed until now. When I asked my wife about it, she brushed it off as payments for personal projects. She didn't elaborate, and something in her tone made me uneasy. That night, I logged into our banking account and started digging. What I found chilled me to the core. Over $30,000 was gone, siphoned away in small, calculated increments. The money was spent on car payments, insurance, and repairs. I felt my stomach twist as I pieced it together. She had bought someone a car. The next morning, I confronted her directly. I didn't tiptoe around it. I went straight to the point. "Who did you buy a car for?" I asked, my voice cold. Her face turned pale. "What are you talking about?" "Don't lie to me. I saw the transactions. You drained our savings." "For what? Or should I say, for who?" After a few seconds of silence, she broke. "It's not what you think. He needed help. His car broke down, and he's been struggling. I couldn't just leave him hanging." "Who's he?" My voice was rising. She hesitated, then mumbled, "My ex." It felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. My wife, the woman I trusted with my life, had taken our hard-earned savings and gifted her ex-boyfriend a car. My voice shook as I asked, "Are you serious? You're telling me you've been sneaking money out of our account for months to help your ex?" Her response? "You wouldn't understand. He's going through a rough time. He's always been there for me, and I owed him." "Owed him?" I couldn't believe my ears. "You're married to me. Whatever you think you owe him is irrelevant. You stole from me. From us." Instead of apologizing, she doubled down. "Don't make this a big deal. It's just money, and you'll earn it back." Her entitlement floored me. I wasn't just angry, I was enraged. But instead of yelling, I decided to play it smart. I told her we'd talk later and left for work, seething inside. That night, I didn't go home. I needed clarity, so I met with a lawyer friend of mine. He confirmed what I already knew. Her actions were financial betrayal, and in some states, it could even be classified as marital fraud. We discussed my options, and he advised me to freeze all joint accounts immediately. That way, she couldn't siphon any more money while I figured out my next move. The next morning, I went to the bank. I transferred all remaining funds into an account in my name only and froze our joint credit cards. Then, I hired a private investigator. If she'd done this once, who's to say there wasn't more? And I was right. The PI's findings were worse than I could have imagined. Not only had she been helping her ex financially, but she'd also been seeing him behind my back. No, it wasn't physical, at least not yet. But they exchanged messages, met for lunches, and confided in each other like they were still in a relationship. She had essentially been emotionally cheating on me for years. Armed with this evidence, I confronted her again. "I know everything," I said as soon as she walked through the door. I tossed a folder with the PI's report onto the table. She flipped through it, her face turning from confusion to panic. "You had me followed?" "I had every right to. You've been lying to me, sneaking behind my back. And now, you're going to explain yourself." She tried to spin it. "It's not what it looks like. We're just friends. He's struggling, and I was being a good person." "A good person? You're married to me, yet you're funneling thousands of dollars to your ex and meeting him behind my back. You think that's being a good person?" Her entitlement bubbled to the surface again. "You're overreacting. It's not like I cheated. You're just being insecure." That was it. The final straw. "I've already frozen our accounts," I said, watching her face fall. "And I filed for divorce." Her shock quickly turned into fury. "You can't do this. You're being petty. I didn't do anything wrong." "Tell that to the court," I shot back. "Oh, and by the way, the car? I've already contacted a lawyer about repossession. It's in my name since you used our joint account. Your little gift won't last long." True to my word, I went after the car. Legally, it wasn't difficult. Since the payments came from our joint account and I hadn't authorized the purchase, I had grounds to reclaim it. Within weeks, the repo company tracked it down and took it back. Her ex called her furious, but I didn't care. He was her problem, not mine. The divorce process was another battlefield. She tried to paint herself as the victim, claiming I was controlling and paranoid. But the PI's report, combined with the financial records, destroyed her case. My lawyer made sure the court saw her for what she was, a deceitful spouse who prioritized her ex over her husband. The judge didn't take kindly to her actions, especially when I presented evidence of her siphoning funds without my consent. She walked away with nothing. No spousal support, no share of the remaining savings, nothing. Her ex? From what I heard, he ditched her soon after the car was repossessed. Turns out, he was only interested in her as long as she was useful to him. It's been 6 months since the divorce was finalized. I've moved on, not just from her, but from the anger and betrayal. I've learned a lot about myself and the kind of people I let into my life. People often ask if I regret my decision to end things so decisively. My answer is always the same: no. When trust is broken, there's no going back. And if someone shows you who they truly are, believe them the first time. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button. Who knows? Maybe next time, I'll tell you about the time my coworker tried to steal my promotion. Trust me, it's just as wild.